For 1,500 years, people have told of the greatest king Britain ever had. A boy who pulled a sword from a stone, a magic blade, a round table of knights, a wizard, and a kingdom called Camelot. There is only one problem. There is almost no proof that King Arthur ever lived at all. Welcome back to the Ember Tales, where we put the world's oldest legends on trial. Tonight, the once and future king. Almost everything you have heard about him was invented centuries later. But under all of it, there may be a real man. The legend begins with a sword set in a stone. Whoever could pull it free would be the true king of all Britain. Knights and lords heaved at it, and every one of them failed. Then a boy named Arthur, raised as a nobody, set his hand to the hilt and drew the sword out as easily as if it stood in sand. The boy was the rightful king. Guided by the wizard Merlin, Arthur took the throne. He won a second and greater blade from a hand that rose out of a still lake. Its name was Excalibur. He built a shining capital called Camlann and gathered the bravest knights in the world. To make them equals, he seated them at a great round table where no man sat at the head. Together they seemed unstoppable. They fought invaders and monsters, searched for the Holy Grail, and for one brief golden age, Britain knew peace under Arthur's hand. But the golden age did not last. Arthur was betrayed from within by his own nephew Mordred, who seized the throne and turned the knights against each other. The two sides met in one last terrible battle at a place called Camlann. By the end of that day, the round table was broken, the knights lay dead, and Arthur himself was dying. With his last strength, he had Excalibur thrown back into the lake, where the hand rose once more to catch it. And then Arthur was carried away across the water to a misty island called Avalon. He was not buried. The legend says he did not truly die. He only sleeps in Avalon, and one day in Britain's darkest hour, the once and future king will return. It is one of the most beloved stories ever told, and for most of history, that is all anyone could call it. A story. No crown, no Camelot, no round table, no grave. The earliest full tales were written down centuries after Arthur was supposed to have lived, and poets dressed him in plate armor he never wore. And yet, buried beneath all that invention, the oldest scraps of writing point to something they did not make up. Because Britain truly did have a desperate age that cried out for a hero. By around the year 500, the Roman legions were long gone, and the island was left to defend itself. Saxon raiders came across the sea, burning and seizing land, and the old British kingdoms were fighting for their very survival. And the earliest records say that in those dark years, the Britons found a war leader who stopped the invaders cold. At a hill called Badon, he broke the Saxon advance for a generation. Some of the oldest British writings give that leader a name. Arthur. Not a king in shining armor, but a battle commander in an age of mud and iron. One ancient text even lists the battles he is said to have fought and won. 12 of them. 12 victories by one man, holding back the invaders. Another record, a set of old Welsh annals, names his greatest victory at Badon. And then, years later, the Battle of Camlann, where Arthur himself is said to have fallen. And on a windswept cliff in Cornwall, at a place called Tintagel, archaeologists uncovered the stronghold of a wealthy Dark Age ruler. There, scratched into a piece of slate, they found a name. Ardagnu. Ardygnu is not quite Arthur, but it proves that names of that shape were real and in use in exactly the right place and the right century. The legend was breathing the air of a real world. So perhaps there was no sword in a stone, and no wizard and no Camelot. But there may well have been a real man. A British commander who held back the dark for one more generation, and whose deeds were remembered and grew, and slowly turned to gold. Was that man truly called Arthur? Did one leader really do all of it? Or did the legend braid a dozen forgotten heroes into one shining king? The records are far too thin to ever be sure. And Avalon, the misty island where he waits. Some believe it was a real place, a marshy hill in the west of England called Glastonbury, where monks once even claimed to have found his grave. A king who may be the memory of many men. A magic island that may be a real hill. The legend of Arthur was not spun from nothing. It was spun around the shadow of something real. So, what do you believe about King Arthur? A pure imagination, a single real war leader buried under legend, or many heroes remembered as one? Tell us your theory in the comments below.